Hi, welcome to Glow's Kinder Kitchen, and I'm Glow. Well, today we are going to be making a pork roast. And there's so many different ways to make pork roast, but today I'm going to be making a recipe that a good friend of mine when I lived in Colorado gave me. And it's a recipe that her family had used for years, and her name is Kim. So thank you, Kim, for the recipe if you're seeing this. But anyway, what it is, it's a pork roast, and you can also do country style ribs or just pork chops with it. But you're gonna be adding sauerkraut and brown sugar and onion. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get started because what I do first is sear the roast in my cast iron pan. So I've had this preheating, and I'm gonna use just regular olive oil. It's not the extra virgin. If I'm gonna be cooking, I don't use the extra virgin. I use this kind because the burn temperature is higher for it. So I'm gonna go ahead, and I'm just gonna like lightly cover the bottom, probably like 2 tablespoons at the most. So I went ahead and I peppered this, and I'm gonna add a little bit of salt. I have iodized sea salt here. I'm not gonna put a lot because I'm going to be adding salt to it a little bit later as well with some seasonings. So, and I just do it lightly here. Turn it over. This is a 4-pound roast. I weighed it out prior to opening up the package, and I cut off some of the fat. So I probably have maybe 3 3/4 pounds, or 3 3/4 pound roast now, or 3 1/2. And it does have a small bone in it. I think the bone adds a lot of flavor when you're cooking. So I think we got most of it salted, just a little bit over here. So you can see I didn't use very much salt. I've got quite a bit left in my little bowl here as well. So I'm going to go ahead. The oil is starting to shimmer, it looks like. I'm going to just go like that. Yep, it's ready. I can see it sizzling in there. That way I make sure that it's hot. And the reason I cut most of this fat off, this is a pork butt roast, and it has some marbling in it already. And I really don't need all that extra fat in it for this dish. So we're going to sear this on all sides till it's, you know, nice and brown, and we'll be back just as we're completing it. See you in a bit. Hi, well, we're in the middle of browning our roast, and I wanted to share with you, you probably know this, but there may be a few people that don't. When you know your roast is ready to turn, it will not fight you to pick it up to turn. It will automatically have already been released under, you know, on the pan. So I'm going to show you. If I pick this up, I can turn it, and I'm going to show you the back side. Notice how it didn't fight me at all when I turned it? And see how nicely browned that is on that side? So we're going to go ahead and continue to brown on the edges, and we'll be back, but I wanted to show you that little trick. Hi, well, welcome back. I got my roast browned on all sides now. You can see how nicely browned it is.
Looks good, Miss Flo. Smells good too.
And I removed 5 tablespoons of fat, and I always keep a little jar underneath my kitchen sink. And this is hot right now, but that's 5 tablespoons that I added to that. And I'm just going to move that over here and get it out of the way. Wash my hands with warm soapy water. Always keep the sink full of warm soapy water. It helps a lot with keeping yourself clean. So anyway, now what we're going to do is we're going to be adding the rest of the ingredients. The first thing is sauerkraut. I prefer the fresh sauerkraut. I buy the boar's head in the by the deli in the meat case. And what I did is I had bought not the small one, but the large bag. I think it's 2 pounds. I did use some of it last night because I made Reubens, but the remainder is here. And I would say there's probably 2 to 3 cups here. And I drained it, and then I'm going to be putting that on top of our roast. And it's okay if some of it falls down in, because it's going to be doing that when it's cooking. I'm going to turn this down a little so it's not talking to us so much. You can actually do this recipe in a crock pot too if you want. I have done it both ways. Something about low and slow in the oven though, I just think is really good, especially when you're using a cast iron pot like this. There we go. So the next thing you want to do, I'm just going to turn it off. I got my oven preheating also to 325. I'm going to sprinkle on some brown sugar, about 2 to 3 tablespoons. I think I'm going to do 4. And I'm also going to be putting on some onions. And some garlic. I have 2 cloves of garlic that I smash. See how I do it? I peel it and then I smash it with a mallet. And I'm just going to spread the rest of this around on the side. I got a bay leaf. I'm going to put that right here on top. Just 1 bay leaf. And I've got some apple cider vinegar and water. Let me move this stuff out of the way so we have more room. I think I'll put the water in first. I have 2 cups of water, and I just used my container I had put my sauerkraut in after I opened it last night. I always keep it in a glass jar in the refrigerator. There we go. Now it's not talking to us as much either. I'll turn this back on so it stays warm. And then I've got apple cider freshly squeezed. So
I see that again, Miss Glow. Okay. That stuff is good.
Some people actually add apples to it as well, but since we're doing baked apples to go along with this today, I just decided to do the apple cider. And I'm going to add a little thyme, dried thyme to it, probably about a half a teaspoon. And I run it through my fingers, and that helps liven it up a little, with getting the flavors going. And then the other thing I like to add is some ground mustard. Ground mustard goes very well with pork.
How much is that, Miss Glow?
That's a good question. That's about, I would say, 3/4 of a teaspoon.
Okay.
And the last ingredient is dried onion soup mix. And that's where that additional salt comes in.
How much is in that bag?
1 envelope. I would say probably
Your envelope.
maybe 1/3 of a cup is in an envelope.
Okay.
I'm not positive of that, so I can't tell you for sure, but it is 1 envelope. So if you're a family that doesn't like a lot of onion, don't add the extra onion that I added in the beginning to it. But we like onion, so that's why we do that. But anyway, I'm going to cover this now, and we're going to bake it at 325 degrees in the oven, low and slow. It'll probably take 2 to 2.5 hours. When it's done, we will know it because the meat will just kind of fall apart. And then we always serve this with mashed potatoes, and then of course the baked apples. So anyway, we'll see you back in a little while. Bye. Well, welcome back. It's been 2.5 hours now since we put our roast in the oven, and let's take a look and see what it looks like. I always lift the lid up away from everybody so we don't get burnt. But that looks really good.
Yes, it does.
Oh yeah, look how tender this is.
Very tender, Miss Chloe.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove the roast and put it on this platter and cover it lightly and let it rest for about 20 minutes before I slice it, and then I'll get the gravy ready as well. And all I'm going to do for the gravy part is I will just thicken that with some cornstarch and water, and it'll be all done. But anyway, we'll be back to show you the very end. Hi, well, welcome back. It's been 20 minutes since I tinted this roast with aluminum foil. So I'm going to remove it and we'll see what it looks like.
Looks good.
Yeah, it does. It's still warm. So we're going to cut a little piece here and we'll see what it looks like. This part here on top is the sauerkraut. Oh yeah, look at that.
Looks delightful.
Let's cut another piece. See how nice that is?
Turned out good, Miss Chloe.
Yeah. And I'll show you the gravy that I made while this was resting. And all I did was added 2 tablespoons of, it's about a tablespoon of cornstarch with some water to make it like a slurry. And then I added that to this and brought it up to a good simmer and stirred it in. And then I also added just a dash of kitchen bouquet. And when I say a dash, maybe a 1/16 of a teaspoon, just to give it a little bit more brownish color. And that's all I did. And also to enhance, the gravy just a tad. One of the things I wanted to talk about too was I added apple cider. It was not apple cider vinegar like I said in the beginning, so I'm sorry about that. I do add vinegar sometimes to our meats, but not for this. So it's apple cider, and it's fresh apple cider. I did 1/2 of a cup. But if you guys don't want something that's real sweet, this isn't what I would call real sweet at all, but it does have a sweetness to it. So you could leave that out if you don't want that, or cut it back to even like 1/4 of a cup. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and we're going to plate this up and have a delicious dinner tonight. I wish you were here to join us. Thank you for coming and joining us tonight. And if you like this video, would you please like and subscribe to our channel? We would really appreciate it. Bye.